Vittoria looked startled. What? Langdon looked out at the piazza again. Having ascended the church stairs, he was now higher, and his view was better. He still couldn't see anything, but he realized he was moving in the right direction. His eyes climbed the tower of rickety scaffolding above him. It rose 6 stories, almost to the top of the church's rose window, far higher than the other buildings in the square. He knew in an instant where he was headed. Across the square, Chinita Mockery and Gunther Glick sat glued to the windshield of the BBC van. You getting this? Gunther asked. Mockery tightened her shot on the man now climbing the scaffolding. He's a little well dressed to be playing Spider-Man if you ask me. And who's Miss Spidey? Chinita glanced at the attractive woman beneath the scaffolding. Bet you'd like to find out. Think I should call editorial? Not yet. Let's watch. Better to have something in the can before we admit we abandon conclave. You think somebody really killed one of the old farts in there? Chinita clucked. You're definitely going to hell? And I'll be taking the Pulitzer with me. 71. The scaffolding seemed less stable the higher Langdon climbed. His view of Rome, however, got better with every step. He continued upward. He was breathing harder than he expected when he reached the upper tier. He pulled himself onto the last platform, brushed off the plaster, and stood up. The height did not bother him at all. In fact, it was invigorating. The view was staggering. Like an ocean on fire, the red-tiled rooftops of Rome spread out before him, glowing in the scarlet sunset. From that spot, for the first time in his life, Langdon saw beyond the pollution and traffic of Rome to its ancient roots, City Dio, the city of God. Squinting into the sunset, Langdon scanned the rooftops for a church steeple or bell tower. But as he looked farther and farther toward the horizon, he saw nothing. There are hundreds of churches in Rome, he thought. There must be one southwest of here. If the church is even visible, he reminded himself. Hell, if the church is even still standing. Forcing his eyes to trace the line slowly, he attempted the search again. He knew, of course, that not all churches would have visible spires, especially smaller, out-of-the-way sanctuaries. Not to mention, Rome had changed dramatically since the 1600s when churches were by law the tallest buildings allowed. Now, as Langdon looked out, he saw apartment buildings, high-rises, TV towers. For the second time, Langdon's eye reached the horizon without seeing anything. Not one single spire. In the distance, on the very edge of Rome, Michelangelo's massive dome blotted the setting sun. St. Peter's Basilica. Vatican City. Langdon found himself wondering how the cardinals were faring, and if the Swiss Guard search had turned up the antimatter. Something told him it hadn't. And wouldn't. The poem was rattling through his head again. He considered it, carefully, line by line. From Santi's earthly tomb with Demon's Hole. They had found Santi's tomb. Cross Rome the mystic elements unfold. The mystic elements were earth, air, fire, water. The path of light is laid, the sacred test. The path of illumination formed by Bernini's sculptures. Let angels guide you on your lofty quest. The angel was pointing southwest. Front stairs. Glick exclaimed, pointing wildly through the windshield of the BBC van. Something's going on. Mockery dropped her shot back down to the main entrance. Something was definitely going on.